Hi, I'm Brian with Pioneer Builders. This is part one of a multi-part series where I'm going to talk about building a garage over a wood-framed conditioned space below. For our first part, let's get into the building science. I'll meet you in the garage. Okay, we are in the garage, and I think we need to talk about what is actually existing, and then we'll also get into the building science. So this is a sloped piece of property like so many of ours seem to be. And what you can do is change the different elevations of where you're cutting in for your basement. What we have is a walkout basement. And then you could leave sort of a block of earth, so to speak. You would form around it, and then you would have your garage being resting on the ground. Most attached garages are built having concrete poured essentially on the ground. In this case, though, we got more dirt out of the equation by excavating out where that soil actually is. So we got a ton of cubic yardage out of it, and then we end up having an entire space down below that can be finished space. It's not a real typical way of building, but it is nothing new. My dad, he built this way quite a bit through the years. Timmy actually remembers, like back in the early 90s, working on something like this. Where I currently live, it's a drive-over garage with living space below. So in the future, we'll go down below and take a look at actually how it's constructed. But what are some of the concerns? I said we were going to talk about the building science. What are some of the concerns that we have here? Well, there's the structural engineering side. We're not going to go into that. We're going to focus more just on the water. Now, yes, we do have a roof over the top of us, but there will be water that comes in here. It'll be water in the form of liquid. In other words, there's enough water molecules together and it's cold enough that it's that actual liquid. It's not ice and it's not in water vapor. Remember, water changes phases and it can change depending on a couple of different parameters. So when vehicles come in off of the street, they're going to end up dripping water onto the concrete slab. We don't have the concrete slab yet. That's scheduled for about a week and a half from now. Now there will be a hard trowel finish, which would prevent some of the water from getting through, but maybe some of the water will actually penetrate through the concrete, and we don't want it to be sitting on top of wood. So what we've ended up using in this particular case is VaproShield is the company, and the brand or the product itself is Slope Shield Plus self-adhered. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But the concrete will end up cracking. We're going to probably put tool joints in and divide this up. So that's where the water could get down there. Do I actually think water will penetrate all the way down there? No, I honestly don't. But if there's anything that could lead to a huge lawsuit, it would be if a vehicle crashed through rotted out wood. So I'm going safe just to be on the safe side. That would be that could frankly bankrupt a company. So thinking downstream is why I'm being more conservative than maybe I might be on making certain other decisions in the house. So this particular product is waterproof. It's liquid waterproof. So when all of those water molecules are together and it's acting as something of a mass, it's not going to be able to penetrate through that. But we talked earlier that water changes form, especially depending on how much energy there is in the air. So that liquid water can change phase and then go into more of a gas type state. This particular product is vapor open. Now, water molecules are actually smaller than most of the constituent air particles in the air around us. So water vapor can pass through this, whereas I don't know if the other, hydrogen and things like that could pass through carbon dioxide. But in any case, it's vapor open, meaning that water can escape. Water vapor molecules are lighter weight than the other air molecules that make up the atmosphere that we live in. How can you prove that? Where do clouds typically reside? Up. So those water molecules want to rise. So what we're going to end up having here, we'll look underneath, is probably about 2 inches or so of polyolefin, hydropolyolefin, HFO, closed cell spray polyurethane foam. That acts as a vapor barrier, which means that water vapor from the downstairs from occupants can't penetrate through it. But if you use like an ice and water shield over the top, which is what we've done in the past, you have a potential for creating a vapor sandwich. So if there is vapor that gets into the wood frame system, maybe it migrates up through the floor joists, maybe, even though there shouldn't be, we have a high water content. Or maybe it just gets in there in some weird way, because water is weird and weird things can happen. This increases the drying potential. When you look at a vapor assembly, you have to add up all of the different components of that to see how vapor closed the system is. So if we have closed cell spray polyurethane foam at the bottom, and we used a vapor closed protective layer over the top, over time, there's a chance that water molecules can start collecting, accumulating, and then you could have microbial growth, rot, and then I get a phone call where a couple of vehicles have crashed through this, and then I need to move to Canada. That would be a worst case scenario. So that's why we use this particular product, and I think that covers the high level and maybe even a little bit some of the deeper level when it comes to the building science. Well, thanks for watching. In the next video, I have a special treat. This guy. My brother Tim with Awesome Framers is going to be here, and we're going to talk through some of the installation, and we're also going to talk through in another video the structure. Well, thanks for watching. He's got a very small account, Awesome Framers, on Instagram. Give him a follow. And of course, I'm Pioneer Builders Inc. on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.